Alrighty, it looks like we're live. Hello, everybody. We're going to start in just a couple minutes. Just going to wait for a few people to jump in, and we will start at 2 o'clock. And we're going to do our best to get done at 2:30, which is actually 4:30, starting at 4 o'clock Eastern. We, of course, are in Belize, and our time never changes. So it's actually 2 minutes till 2 now. If you're hopping in, please say hi and let me know where you're tuning in from. Dope Partners, that's Christopher. Hello, how are you? Jennifer, hey, how are you? Good to see you again. In Kentucky, I know where you're from. You're one of the, you and Christopher both tune in all the time. So, look, happy to see you. We're going to get one more minute, and then we're going to get kicking it off. Hey, Jim. Oh, we're going to talk about the law of attraction. How exciting. Myth, reality, or bullshit? Hey, Tiffany. All righty, let's go ahead and get this ball rolling. So, law of attraction, myth, reality, or bullshit? I'm going to say myth, perhaps. Reality, definitely. Bullshit, the way you've been taught by the gurus. The gurus would have you believe that all you have to do is have positive thoughts, focus on what you want, sit in the lotus position, meditate, keep your energy high, get your energy in alignment with what you want. Everything that you want is in the vortex, and all you have to do is just get it from vortex into reality, and that's just getting in alignment with it, and it's that easy. And that's true, and it's not true, and I'll tell you why I say that. So I have manifested some. Hey, Susan, I have manifested some what many would call miracles in my life. I'm not going to go into the whole story here, but several times I have manifested what most would call the impossible. One of them, I'll just tell you I'll tell you two stories. One story was when I was about 18 years old. I went on the road as a truck driver, driving the concert equipment for rock bands touring. Many of you know that I had a 30-year career in show business. And my first job was driving trucks, hauling the gear, the lighting gear and the stage gear and the sound gear and all that stuff. And I remember I was driving a company truck at the time, and I was going through Sparks, Nevada, which is in Reno. And they have a 76 truck stop, which has been converted to a TA. It's no longer 76, but back then it was a 76 truck stop. And they had a brand new Peterbilt truck, a 359 Peterbilt. At the time, we're talking about, just under $100,000 truck. And that was my dream truck. I was like, oh my God, if I could be on tour and I could drive that. By the way, going on tour was a manifestation and creation as well, law of attraction story as well. But the truck, going back to the truck, I wanted to manifest this truck. And it was always the dream truck. It's what I wanted. It's what I wanted. It's what I wanted. And I focused on it and I focused on it and I could see it and I could visualize it. And every time I would go through Sparks, Nevada, I would play the slot machine that you could win this. I just knew I was going to win this truck. And it didn't happen. And it didn't happen. And it didn't happen. And then after a year or whatever, the truck went away. Somebody finally won that thing. And it just didn't happen. Now, fast forward, it's, I don't know, 15 years later, 18 years later, 20 years later, whatever. I end up in a position where I've been touring for a long time, off and on. I think it was about maybe 15 years. And I have an opportunity for the employer that I worked for said, have you ever thought about buying a truck? And I said, yeah, of course, so on and so forth. Make a long story short, I ended up with the Peterbilt of my dreams, which is even nicer than the one that I dreamt about many years ago. And I ended up in that truck, and it was custom built for me. I was the one that spec'd it out, and I was driving off the parking lot in my Peterbilt truck. Like it was the dream truck. It was anything I could have ever dreamt. And it felt surreal. And I got emotional. I started crying. It's like, you know, grown man, right? And I started crying, and I was like, oh my God, it's just crazy. Like how this happened. Now, here's where I want to ask you a question. That took years to happen. And I didn't do anything deliberate or specific. I did what the law of attraction gurus said. I wrote my dreams down. I wrote down my goals. I visualized. I did all of these things. I wrote down these goals and so on and so forth. And then I kind of just put it aside. I had a vision board, a couple different terms, and I can't remember now. I now use vision board all the time, but there was another term. I can't remember what it was. But anyway, I had this vision board, and I had all these image book. That's what I used to call it before vision board became popular, right? So I had an image book, and it was basically a photo album with all, because back then we didn't have computers and all that stuff, right? And I didn't know about vision boards. I knew about an image book, and an image book was basically the same thing. It was my a photo album that had all those pictures and words and things in there, and so on and so forth. And I didn't do anything deliberate about that. And many years later, through no actual deliberate intention, I ended up with this manifestation happen. Now, the only thing I can say is that was the law of attraction. I didn't really do anything except for it stayed in my mind. It stayed in my energy. And somehow life kind of directed me and bumped me here and there and around till eventually, hey, Charles, we need to talk. You need to call me. Until eventually we get, I manifest this thing, and it was many years later, and it was just like, wow, that's remarkable. It was magical, and it was surreal. Now, here's the problem. It took all those years. My question is, I do believe that the law of attraction works when you have a strong intention, when you have emotion, when you do, as the gurus say. I believe that it does work. I also believe that it takes years and years and years and years and years, 10, 20, 30, some things took 30 years. And I've produced over and over again, from getting into show business to the truck, to the house that I bought, to the cars that I drove, to the wife that I have now, the relationship of my dreams, to living where we live now on an island in the truck. Like all of this stuff was in my head. But I have watched as I did what the guru said and was passive and just meditated and got on the law of attraction pages. I cringe. Now I'm just going to say one thing. I cringe every time I get on a law of attraction page and I see the posts that say, you will have $1 billion in your bank account by Wednesday. Type yes in the chat if you believe that, or whatever. And it's just like, seriously, it just, well, let me know how that works out for you. I want to know how many of you billionaires in here, because and here's the thing, and I've posted in law of attraction pages trying to explain what I'm explaining now. I didn't try, I did a much better job because I could take my time and write it out, explaining the process by which I have created things really, really fast for myself. And it was not just through doing those things. Hey, Kelly. And so when I would make a post, an article, in fact, we actually have a page called, what is it called, Don? Law of Attraction Truth Seekers. It is a page. I haven't written much in it lately, but I've written several articles, and I used to put those articles in the Law of Attraction pages. But I got discouraged, and the reason why is because I would post an article about how I've been able to manifest some really remarkable things. Some of the things that, many of the things that, hey, Kelly, many of the things that the law of attraction pages say, write your stuff down and it's going to happen for you, blah, blah, blah. And some of the things in a rapid time frame and some of them not. And I've paid attention to what was the difference. I was the mouse in the maze, and I was the scientist watching the mouse in the maze and watching what was happening and taking inventory of my own life and seeing how things were manifesting. And I would write an article and put it in the law of attraction pages. And I would get, I'd get a ton of comments and stuff. Like I'd get at least a dozen comments, or maybe 15 or 20 comments or likes. And then I would see a post like, you're going to have $10 million in the bank Wednesday. Click yes if you agree, or type yes in the chat if you agree. And it would only end up getting like about 900 or 1,400 likes and loves and I can't tell you how many yes. Type yes if you believe that, and yes, 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 and thousands and thousands and thousands of yeses, yeses, yeses. Everybody just jumping on the bandwagon and like, oh my God, there's going to be 300 people or 900 people or 1,300 people. They're going to be millionaires on 10 decamillionaires on Wednesday. I can't wait to meet them all. And this would happen over and over and over again. And I just got so disgusted by it that I kind of abandoned those groups and just kind of went out. But I didn't abandon what was happening to me in my life. So let me tell you what my experience is with the law of attraction. Law of attraction. Let me back up one thing. I'm going to say whether I have created in my life real magic. What do I mean by that? Real magic. What is real magic? Magic is an illusion, right? And real is reality. And what's the difference? When I say real magic, what I mean is a magician. When a magician does a magic trick, they are doing certain things in a certain way. It's not supernatural. Anybody, how many of you, go ahead and put it in the chat if you would. How many of you have ever watched David Blaine or Criss Angel? Criss Angel is the one I like because the shit he does is scary. I mean, he does scary magic, like freak you out, creepy shit, right? But understand, it's magic. It's an illusion. Now, here's what you have to understand. As the audience, as we're watching, as the audience, it would appear that it's supernatural, right? He has just defied reality. And it's a supernatural, it's a spiritual thing, right? And it's like witchcraft. It's scary. But the reality is, real magic, the reality is he's not bending reality. He's not tapping into the supernatural. What these magicians are doing is they are doing techniques, doing certain things in a certain way. And to the observer, it looks supernatural. But to the magician that knows what's happening behind the scenes, the part you don't see, it's just technique. It's just getting so good at doing the technique in this certain way that it's predictable and it's repeatable, and he can do it every single time. Every single time. I actually started doing magic years and years ago, and haven't done it in years since I met Dawn. I mean, I haven't done it in 10 years. But I used to do magic. And to some people, it would freak them out. Like, how did you do that? Well, I believe that that's what, when I say I've done real magic, is what I mean is I have manifested things. Dawn, I manifested her in a short period of time. She manifested me. She had a list, 2-page list of all of the qualities that she wants. I think I've gotten to them all now. But I had like everything but maybe one or two of the things on that list of the perfect person. And I've added them since then. Like, how did you create that? It's through real magic. It's through doing certain things in a certain way over time with a certain state of mind and a state of heart that creates circumstances. And I'm going to say this, When I say real magic, I'm referring to the law of attraction. When I say law of attraction, I'm referring to the universe. When I'm referring to the universe, I'm referring to God. I don't care what nickname you give the law of attraction, the universe, real magic, God, Allah, Yahweh, Jesus, Jehovah, infinite intelligence, higher power. Like all of it is the same thing. For those of us who have any spirituality whatsoever, if you don't have any spirituality and you call it science, let's call it science. I don't care. Science is another nickname. There is something that makes things happen in certain ways and organizes things in ways beyond anything that we can understand. The magic that happens in life, the miracles that happen in life. And it's like, how did that happen? Don and I refer to it as spiritual, cosmic ridiculousness. You also may have heard us refer to it as spiritual what the fuck. Those things that happen, the chance meetings, the serendipitous experiences, moments, being at the right place at the right time, and the holy shit, how did that happen? Wow, that's crazy. Now, something made that happen, whether you want to call it God, law of attraction, universe, science, whatever. I don't care the label. The name tag you put on it is irrelevant. It's still that something that is responsible for something, right? And so that being said, the way that I have found that, well, let me ask you a question first. How many of you, please put it in the chat. I have a dream. Write dream in the chat if you have a dream or a goal or a vision or something that you've been wanting to create in your life, whether it's a special someone, a mate, whether it's a certain amount of money, whether it's living in a certain place, whether it's whatever it may be, driving a certain car. We've got these dreams or a goal, Don said, right? We have these goals or we have these dreams. We have these visions of things that we would like. Many of you had them years ago and you stopped dreaming. You've given up on them, and you've given up on them because they haven't worked out yet. How I was able to manifest that Peterbilt was I never gave up on that dream, even though I stopped working deliberately and focusing deliberately. I still kept driving. I still kept in the mindset. I still stayed in show business. I still stayed in the profession. I still stayed in the environment that could at least allow it to happen. And the miracles that took place that finally ended up cultivating to like, here I am, I was still engaged. It wasn't like I gave up on my dream and then I went to run a jackhammer for the next 30 years, because I don't think it would have manifested then. You are being, for lack of a better word, spoken to. You are being inspired. You are having intuitions. You are being directed to do certain things. Now, we don't always listen and follow that, but when we do, and we continue on that path, I believe eventually it will show up. I think that, I don't think, because thinking is just an idea. I believe through the experiences that I've had and the experiences that I've seen happen over and over and over again, the experiences Dawn and I have had together, the experiences as we've taught certain people certain things, we've watched miracles, magic happen in when we were doing our life coaching. We've seen miracles happen, like flat out, no way, this is unexplainable, to the point where the people that we were working with, like, what? No way, that's just not possible. And yet it happened. Now, the question is, would you like to see that happen in your own life? Would you like to see, because some of you have given up in your dreams. You went off in another direction and abandoned it completely. And you don't want to get your hopes up, because if you got your hopes up again and you got let down again, you just don't know if you could take it. You can't take the heartbreak. But I'm here to tell you, if you stay on track and you keep listening to those intuitions and you do not give up on the chance, not even believing that it's going to happen, on the chance that it could, and you stay in alignment and you keep following, I believe, and I have seen in our lives and other people's lives, I have seen magic and miracles happen. Now, that brings me to the next question. Do you want to wait 25 years for that shit? Or would you like to see it happen in about 2.5 years? Or 2.5 days? Because I've seen both. I've seen Dawn and I go from flat broke, wiped out, started with an intention. And if you've heard Don speak, disruption always follows intention. We had an intention to get financially free, and the next thing you know, we were flat broke, wiped out financially, and practically almost got our home taken away from a hurricane, which is how we ended up here. I have watched this stuff happen. We went from flat broke in 2.5 years to being financially free, living the life of our dreams, doing what we want, when we want, where we want, with who we want. Not as much as we want. We're working on that too. But it happened really fast. I watched Don show up in my life within a day, actually. Within a day of making a declaration. I watched getting on the boat. You guys remember the story of Chrysalis. If you've not listened to our podcast, Amazing Living with Don and Lucky podcast, you can find it on iTunes and pretty much anywhere podcasts are at. Listen to, I don't even know, Don can tell you what episode it is. It's 1, 2, and 3. It's our story. How we ended up on the boat that I think it was April, I think. I said, I'm going to be sleeping on my boat by Christmas, by December 15th. And then I wrote it down. I put it in my phone. I set my alarm for December 15th at 10 p.m. I will be sleeping on my boat. And I forgot about it. And life goes on, and I forgot all about that. I had set that alarm. Forgot about that declaration that I made. And I go to, I had to go back to Florida because we were looking to buy a boat. And I had to go to the survey. So I drive 12 hours from Nashville to Florida. We conduct the survey, and the surveyor says, yeah, if you don't buy it, I'll buy it. I said, awesome. So I asked the broker, can I sleep on the boat tonight? And he said, well, it's not yours yet. I can't give you permission to sleep on the boat. All I'm going to tell you is it won't be locked. And so that night I snuck on the boat, and I go down, I had a sleeping bag with me, and I took my sleeping bag on. I sneaked down to the boat, and I'm laying in the bed, and I'm talking to Dawn, and we end up on a conversation. Finally, I don't know, 9 o'clock, 9:30 or whatever. I'm going to go to sleep now. I'm going to get up early because I got a long drive to drive back to Nashville. I get off the phone, I hang up, I close my eyes, and a little bit later, the alarm starts going off. And I pick up my phone, what the hell is that all about? And I see the alarm notification that says, I will be sleeping on my boat on December 15th. And it was December 15th at 10 p.m. And I started bawling like a baby. I'm like, how did that happen? There's no way. That, it was freaky. Crazy how that happened. But I never gave up working on the dream. I had a room in my house that was a big, huge walk-in closet. And that big walk-in closet was full of boat stuff, radios and snorkel gear and dive gear and rope and whistles and GPS and anything that had to do with the number 2 pencils you use to write on charts and the best erasers in the world. And it was all this boat gear. I mean, it was full of stuff. I was working towards that dream, working for that goal, not knowing how it was going to happen, not worried about how it was going to happen, not worried when it was going to happen, just knowing, Don wrote, God showing off, just knowing that it was going to happen someday. And I wrote that down before I met Dawn, before I even met her. I might have wrote that all down in March. I can't remember. But it was before I met her, and then I meet her, and the next thing you know, December 15th, I'm sleeping on the boat. That kind of shit happens. Now, that took a couple years. That took, 3 or 4 years, 5 years. Dawn and I are ramping things up. Things are moving, Dawn said in March. Things are moving up, moving faster and faster for Dawn and I, because that is something that I learned about the law of attraction, or God, or universe, and this is what I was going to say. The law of attraction doesn't give you what you want. God doesn't answer your prayers. life isn't coming to rescue you, at least in the way you think it is, or in the way that maybe you were taught. This has been my experience. This is how I've learned how it works. Life doesn't give you what you want. Life gives you, and replace the word life with law of attraction, God, science, Jesus, Allah, Yahweh, whatever, Jehovah. Life gives you the people, the situations, the opportunities, the heartbreaks, the divorces, the illnesses, all of the things, the lost loved ones. It gives you everything, even the bullshit, that are necessary for you to become the person that you would need to be in order to have the thing you want. Here's where the magic comes in. The faster you can become the person who would have the thing, the more effortless and faster it will produce in your life. Did you hear that? The faster you can become the person you need to be in order to have the thing you want, the faster and more effortless the thing you want comes to you. Now that produces, this is the hard part. Law of attraction gurus would suggest that if you could just stay in a state of think about, that you will end up having. And the problem is that you end up trying to play this mind game with yourself that you don't believe. Many of you are writing down affirmations. I'm going to give you a hint on affirmations. Those of you who know about affirmations know that when you write down affirmations, you want to write them down in what? The present tense, right? You need to write it down in the present tense. I have $10 million today. I have this today. I am driving the new Aston Martin V12 Vantage today. And write down your affirmations in present tense. Here's the problem. It violates the state of being that I'm talking about. You cannot have what you're not being. And you can lie to yourself all day long. You have already. You lied to yourself. In fact, you're the only one that's heard every single lie you've ever told yourself. You were going to start working out. You were going to cut back on carbs. You were going to eat less crap. You were going to stop drinking, smoking, blah, blah, blah. And every year you write the resolutions down. And every year by this time, they're already long gone. So the problem is that you cannot have a high energy state of being while you're doing a low level activity like lying. It is an energy drain. And when you say I have 10 million in the bank, but you can't pay your fucking electric bill, or you're worried about getting laid off, or you're worried about this and you're worried about that, most of you are so consumed with what you don't want, which is why you think you want what you want, because you know what you don't want. And most of you aren't even that clear about what you want. You are abundantly clear of what you don't want. And so what we do is we try to trick ourselves into believing that we can have something that we know we can't have by saying it over and over and over and over and over and over and over. And that's partially true, but the problem is you're saying it in a way that is an absolute lie, and you know it's a lie. And so your brain says, I have 10 million in the bank, and your heart says, or vice versa, bullshit. I call bullshit. No, you don't. You think if you keep doing it enough, you'll get somewhere. And I'm going to say this. Yes, it is true. You have to write it in the present tense. But you have to write it, in my opinion, you have to write it in such a way that you can't lie with it. And what do I mean by that? I love having millions in the bank. I love having millions in the bank. I may or may not necessarily have that at any given time. But that doesn't mean I don't love it. I love having an amazing wife. I love being fit. I love being healthy, fit, strong, and flexible. Now, I am those things to some degree. Even I can improve on them, but to some degree I feel younger now than I did 5 months ago. I'm only 55 pounds lighter. I love feeling confident relaxed, and in the flow. See, you can make statements that are absolutely true right now with room to grow where you're going to. I love being surrounded by amazing, loyal, happy, ambitious friends of integrity. I love that. And when you can start stating, I love cruising aboard our boat. I love whatever it is, learning more things. I love money. Money loves me. I love how my money continues. I love how we continue to expand and grow our passive forms of income. These are all true statements right now in the present tense, but I'm not going to argue with them. I believe, yeah, absolutely. I love that shit. I may not necessarily have it to the degree that I want, but I have some level of it right now. So state your affirmations in the present tense, but state them with something that you can't lie about. And then the last thing, here's the last thing I'm going to say before I go. You will only attract in your life or manifest in your life things that you believe. You will only manifest in your life the things that you believe. And if you want to know if you believe it or not, here's a litmus test for you. Ask yourself, are you doing everything that a person like that would do? Are you doing the cold calls? Are you doing the door knocking? Are you doing the talking to strangers? Are you making proposals? Are you, whatever it is, are you doing the thing? And to the degree that you're doing the thing, here's what I've learned. If you want to knock it down from 25 years down to 2.5 years, take all out massive freaking action. Don and I have this goal, a huge, huge goal. We've got several of them. Very big. One of the things that I know is to get to that kind of money, we have to be of a certain influence. We need to be doing certain things in a certain way. The way that people that have those things do those things. Well, I'm not there yet. I'm 55 pounds, 60 pounds overweight. I look shitty in clothes. I that. I don't know how to speak. I'm paranoid to speak on stage. Well, I need to be able to speak in public. I need to be able to, these lives. I'm still not good at them yet. But I keep doing them. I keep doing these lives every week, every Friday. Even though I'm unprepared, I'm not ready, I'm not good enough. I don't know what to do a lot of times. I'm struggling with this, but I do it anyway. I do it anyway. You know why? Because eventually I will get good enough and good enough and good enough. And eventually we will be on stages, and eventually we will be able to impact enough people. We'll have enough videos out. We'll have enough influence that we will be invited in those places. And I can tell you, the goals we have will not happen because we went out and we were able to reach 10 million people. It's because we were able to reach a friend of a cousin of Tony Robbins, or the neighbor of Grant Cardone, or the uncle of Tom Bilyeu, or it'll be a friend of we're 6 degrees of separation from every person in the world. And all it takes is meeting that one person, seeing you here, or the friend of theirs seeing you here or there, or you have to make the magic. You have to make the magic happen. And how you do it is action, moving. And to the degree that you'll take action, that is the degree of your belief. People who believe take massive, all-out, 18-hour-a-day work days. They will do whatever. They will put out 1,000 videos. They will do whatever it is possible, whatever is necessary. They will not make excuses. They will do everything they possibly can. That is belief. Sitting in your chair with a remote control, with a bong in one hand and the TV remote in the other, watching Discovery Channel or the Travel Channel, that's not massive action. And that's what a lot of people are doing. Sitting with a travel magazine in their lap. Oh, looking at pictures of Hawaii. Oh, someday is secret code for never. So if you want to know if you believe or not, look at the actions you're taking. The more unreasonable you are, Don and I have a mastermind group. Ask anybody in the mastermind group if they think Don and Lucky are unreasonable. Ask them if they doubt for 1 second that we won't achieve every one of our goals. That's part of the reason why they're in the mastermind group. It's shit, man. These are believers. How do I know they believe? because they're either that or they're insane, because they work their asses off towards creating miracles. And because of it, magic happens and people show up and miracles take place. And so anyway, that's my slant on the law of attraction. I hope this helps you. Go to Law of Attraction Truth Seekers. There's a lot of articles in there that I've written in the past. We are revamping the AmazingLiving.net website. That's going to be up. The new website will be up pretty soon. We will make an announcement on Facebook pages with that. If you guys want to know how to get into the mastermind group that was closed for 3 years. It was private. We are now opening it up to the public. If you want to know how you can experience that for free, if you want to know how to experience that for free, then send Dawn a message. If you want to know the pathtofreedom.info, that is a financial freedom webinar that Dawn and I had put together. You can go to pathtofreedom.info and watch that webinar. We're trying to create all of this stuff to show you guys not theory, not law of attraction theory, not business theory, not how to create the life of your dreams theory, but through the things that we do. The things that we have done. We have shared everything. If you go to the Amazing Living with Dawn Lucky podcast, we share, listen, it's an audio podcast. There's 3 episodes. The first 3 episodes, if you don't listen to any of the others, the first 3 are our story and a lot of the magic and stuff that happened. And you can follow our progress. We've been documenting everything for Facebook on Facebook forever. If you're not following Dawn, make sure you do this and start watching her reels. She's putting out these shorts and reels and stuff. We're putting them on YouTube as well. Her morning rants, a lot of these are coming. Well, most of them are all coming from the mastermind. So anyway, with that, it's 2:35. I went a little bit long again, as usual, but I just want to make sure that I get this all out to you guys, that you have everything that you need. There is no reason that anybody of reasonable intelligence, if you're a person of faith, you have to prove it. Faith without works is dead. And so prove your faith by taking action on your dreams. And if you need help, reach out to either one of us and we would be more than happy to help you. And with that, have an awesome day. We got to get ready for happy hour. It's Friday. And so in about 25 minutes, we get to meet with our group of people that we meet with every Friday. And till then, have a blessed week. Next week, I've already decided, next week, if you want to tune in, I'm going to talk about the 10 books that have literally changed my life. So if you guys want to know, because we're just giving you the little highlights here and there, the stuff that I'm sharing with you isn't going to change your life. It'll start you on the change of life. But you're going to need a lot more than the information we can share with you in this short period of time. But I'm going to share the 10 books that absolutely transformed my life. And we'll discuss those in a little bit detail. Until then, have a blessed weekend. We will see you soon. Love you all. Bye-bye.